What's going on, guys? It's Frito here for your Overwatch. Today we're looking at a gameplay submission from the most fragtastic Reinhardt you've ever seen in Platinum. Our hero Muttonhead goes from running over the enemy team to running right into a brick wall. In today's video, we're going to cover how to read when to attack or defend with your team, what positions to focus on, and how to outplay Reinhardt counters. We'll review what went wrong and give you some counter examples of what to do in this exact situation. Right after this quick message. Gamers, it's not required for us all to be neckbeards. We don't have to be thanks to today's video sponsor, Manscaped, who's got us covered from bush to beard. This time we're looking at the Beard Hedger Pro Kit. The star of the game is the Beard Hedger Trimmer. The powerful 7200 RPM motor and titanium coated T-blade can cut through the thickest of hair in a single stroke. The Beard Hedger was designed with a unique cutting angle to lift flat-lying hairs for a clean cut. The beard trimmer is waterproof, cordless, and rechargeable, so you can trim in the shower to save time and create less mess. Manscaped also created dermatologist-tested beard care products to help you grow and nourish a magnificent beard. Cleanse your beard with their beard shampoo that is cruelty-free, paraben-free, sulfate-free, dye-free, and vegan. Level up your beard game today. Head on over to manscaped.com and use code OVERWATCH at checkout to get 20% off and free international shipping. That's 20% off, free global shipping. Use code OVERWATCH at checkout. Kicking off at the start of the game, our Reinhardt hero is already making mistakes that just aren't getting punished based on the hero picks and playstyle of the enemy. Let's talk about some matchups for Reinhardt right away. Brig is such a weak matchup for Rein, you should consider her as a free kill anyway. Unless she counterpins you or dashes away very cleverly, the enemy just having a Brig makes it easy for Reinhardt. And furthermore, the enemy playing Rein doesn't counterpin you as you rush into his team, and instead goes Ramatra, which is an amazing matchup for Reinhardt. On top of that, you'll find that at higher ranks, it will be a massive mistake to throw your fire strike at a Genji, because going in aggressively yourself and fire striking him, he should have reflect to send that back at your team, cleaving through with damage you can't block and putting your teammates at risk for a chain of dash resets. So even with the montage of frags we're putting up, there's some pretty big gaps in our game. Keep in mind, Reinhardt has a win percentage of 58% globally right now. They told us that in the blog post. I think it's safe to say that he's overstated. So in a lot of matchups, you will find easy wins by simply running things down. Throwing your body at the enemy in close range will work to a point. But as we start to get up to Rialto C, the game starts to get a bit more technical. We accrue a massive respawn disadvantage. So playing for trades is not good enough. So we're going to need better regroups, objective control, and ult economy to break a point like this, especially going against a counter pick in Bastion. Now, I don't actually think Bastion is a hard counter pick against Rein, because Bastion actually counters overly aggressive tanks, any of them really, or very attritional tanks. We'll go into depth on how to outplay the Bastion later, but first, let's highlight an earlier mistake that we didn't get punished for until this stage of the game. Back here on checkpoint A, we work the enemy Rein down. We have a tank advantage, but our hero Muttonhead only sees red. Hard W all the time, run at the enemy. But what's going on behind us all this time? Multiple seconds pass where not only do we barely land any damage, but the enemy Genji is stalling the cart behind us. At higher ranks, this could be a game-losing mistake, because other stall characters might be able to zip past you while we're trying to rush down nothing. Especially on the checkpoint fight, try to remember, you're one of the best characters in the game for cleaning up heroes that are very good at stalling the cart. As they start to crawl around and get around cover, use the cart as cover. For your snipers to hit a Genji, it's a lot harder. Whereas you could have turned to swing him here, and no matter how much healing he gets from the backline, you're gonna get the cart. Like, you need the objective. Because if you go out, let's say, and kill 3, but you die, but the enemy maybe gets like a super big clutch ult back on the cart, your kills would have been for nothing. Those types of things definitely can happen at higher tiers of play. Now, it's that same mistake that shows up later in the attack as well. On the streets checkpoint, a similar thing could have happened, especially if the blue team used their ults better. A last second contest with an ultimate could have swung this whole fight. We're in no position to defend anybody, but we don't get punished for that one. It's not until this fight where the Genji blades our backline, we focus him down, but we don't have healers alive, and we miss the enemy Mercy rezzing behind us, yet we still go forward to the objective. Leaves us into a 2v2 plus 1 on the way, and even though we're good against Brig, well, we can't get healed, so She whittles us down. The enemy Mercy comes back. So it was our lack of awareness of regrouping with our team, setting them up, playing off our backline's line of sight. This player basically has no tank fundamentals. It's all hold shift and swing at the enemy with disregard to the objective, regrouping on our healers, and power positions on the map. And we're going to get punished by things like big damage tank counters or flankers if we play that way. Let's not forget, in this situation, we're dealing with the new Mercy, who clutch heals critical health targets. This means we're expecting 2 skill shot DPS to be able to just kill a Genji who has multiple ways to defend himself. He's hard to hit when he's double jumping. He has Reflect, which none of them can hit, and they literally need someone else to pincer him in order to punish him. Just like the checkpoint A fight, we're expecting our backline to do too much here, and we need them for us to press forward, not to mention turning to even do 1 hit of damage onto the Genji would have turned where he is into a feed. Protect your backline first, then you will have an advantage to snowball and move forward with. While using your shield, you can hold the fire button to spin your camera around while still aiming your shield in front of you, or just playing on a higher sensitivity in general can be good to remember to look around behind you. It's the most common metal rank mistake. Just not even knowing what's going on in your backline. Knowledge is power. It shouldn't be so easy to just send a flanker with a pocket to hard carry the game against you. If you as the tank rush into a fight, pushing forward far past your backline, you create a gap or lane for flankers to attack your backline. And if they don't win the duel for whatever reason, you lose the game. This is always going to be the case. Now, it's at this point our Reinhardt hero swaps to Ramatra, which I think is actually a mistake on multiple levels. Bastion's decent against Rein, but even better against Ramatra, because Bastion has a very attritional style of play, and so does Ram. He actually doesn't have the damage stats to quickly go in. His neutral game is weaker, because Bastion actually has the volume of damage to both work down Ramatra's shield and deal meaningful damage through his block. Not many things can say that. The way to counter Bastion is to fully disengage when he's in his turret form and harder engage and punish when he's in his sentry form. This is important when the enemy is picking a character that is a big tank counter. Bastion very easily mows down all the tanks if you make a mistake, but is a pretty poor duelist because he's so slow, a big target, set up your backline's abilities, and he's toast. And while yes, he can break your shield, as long as you manage it, you'll be able to get from cover to cover. But you have to know that you need to be playing around cover as Reinhardt to begin with to even do that. Reinhardt loves playing around corners because he has a big melee hammer, so he can play as a gatekeeper on any natural piece of cover like the payload or in doorways or defensible corners. King's Row is full of them. What I'm doing against this enemy Bastion here is trying to find gaps to go in on him when he doesn't have sentry, but if my team isn't set up and his team is, I know that any utility from their Ana can disable me. So in the meantime, when there isn't an opening, I need to hold a piece of cover and deny them from aggressing onto my team. This is what the next level of tank gameplay is after simply running at everything all the time stops working. This is actually a pretty tough matchup for me because the enemy has Kiriko the entire game, which makes it pretty hard for me to just int at their Reinhardt, and they have a Bastion, who, as I said, is kind of easy mode when it comes to countering tanks. Now, there's better tank counters for Bastion, like Sigma or Diva, but then my team will struggle a bit against the Rein, as I'll have to yield up some space to him. This game goes down to the wire, but we really start to take it over in overtime. And we're going to do it by repeatedly countering the Bastion until he swaps. Bastions often use their turret form too early in the fight. Here, the time is ticking down. The enemy's throwing utility at the choke, uses sentry, nade, and all sorts of other cooldowns that can wreck me. I heal up, get into my armor health, move the enemy Reinhardt out of the way, touch the objective just to trigger overtime, and I have my shield back in order to block the Bastion's line of sight. Shield's not going to last very long, so it's important that I'm able to back up around a piece of cover, but now we have control of the map, and we can pressure down the Bastion. That's the cycle you're going to want to look for. It's a bit of a waiting game. You have to play smart against the turret. Terrible pin out of a corner, a textbook mistake almost from me, but the shield holds the line against the turret, and with the buffed charge cooldown, I'm going to get it again to pin the Reinhardt. This is what the cycle looks like. Ebb and flow with that Bastion's cooldown. Preserve your shield so you can use it to get to cover when he's using sentry, then go aggressive when he doesn't have it. It's on a massive 12-second cooldown, in which time he's just a budget Soldier 76 who can't run away. He got so little value that he switched to Junkrat here, but playing off the abilities my teammates are using is what sets up this overtime full hold. Try to remember that shielding in front on the objective in so many matchups is just a massive advantage, and playing near a corner is double points, which is what this hotel corner is on Kings Row A. Bit of brawl, bit of fire strike poke. If I see an anti, if I see my Symmetra use wall, or if I get nano, that's what I play off of. That's what I'm looking to aggress on. The higher up you go on the ranks, the tank battle is a lot more dictated based on your support's utility, setting up your own and denying the enemies. And you simply won't just run over everything and win for free. This is all going to be map by map basis, but let's real quick go over some important positions that you should think about taking and how to just anchor both your hammer around corners and your shield to deny lines of sight. When we made the decision to rush the bridge to go at the enemy's backline, try to remember that just holding a shield right in front of the cart denies all their value anyway. We don't necessarily need kills on the board. We need the A cap. So either turning to swing on the Genji or just shielding the Ashe's line of sight in front of us would have effectively removed her from the fight regardless. Then on the streets checkpoint, where we don't get punished for going up top, instead consider holding this corner. As the enemy tries to retake from underneath, either straight ahead of you or from the door behind you on the cart, you can swing to eliminate whatever's stalling the objective. Or they drop a high noon in front of you, a BAP window. Having your shield ready on this corner means they lose that line of sight. Even if your shield burns, at least you use it to help someone get back into cover. Positioning up top like we did means we have to play for kills and hope the enemy don't make a play. Then on point C, try to remember that it's important to regroup with your team, sustain, and move along with the cart. You gotta be careful with reading your matchups and reading where your team can fight. Tanks don't counter everything. You have to progressively take space bit by bit, especially against the tank buster characters like Reaper, Bastion, Torbjorn, Zenyatta, rather than just running at them as fast as you can, because then they'll just burst you down. Instead of pinning in, assuming you're gonna clean up the entire team again, try to play corner to corner, gatekeeping the enemy from coming out to touch the cart. Meanwhile, you'll be moving the cart up and advancing the objective, and they have to come get you. Now, granted, once you get in the choke, it can be a little difficult, but then you play to outplay the Bastion's turret form like I did in Overtime Kings Row, especially working up to your ultimates. If you don't just bully over the Ramatra in the choke anyway, because he's not too much of a threat to you. It's the rest of the team that is. If you'd like to get your gameplay reviewed on the channel, check the link in the description to submit replay codes of matches where you thought you played well but lost anyway. While you're in the description, check out today's video sponsor, Manscaped, and get 20% off your entire order and free international shipping using code OVERWATCH at checkout. Like the video if you did enjoy it, and don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon to actually get notified when our videos go live. That's been it for me. I've been Frito for your Overwatch. I'll see you guys next time.